Do you have, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So my question is, do you have a prepared set of questions, my dear podcast host?
No, man, let's just have fun, man. Let's just sit down and just fucking goof around. Who cares?
Goof the fuck around.
I don't have questions for
You
you.
took my video garment away, though.
What?
That was like the thing.
What?
I'm like, our returnal. How are we going, yeah.
No, it's fine.
And we have to occupy ourselves with the cold wasteland of reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
Okay, this is good. Okay. Let's frame this one. I'll frame it first, and then I'll turn it live. Just for my...
Frame me for what?
I'm not framing you.
I didn't commit any crimes, man. What are you talking about?
I'm not framing you.
I see, for the duel.
Yeah. So, there. I'll probably move the mug. No. Are you
a shot that's 50%
like if
mug.
you sit like normally,
Then we're like, it's a bit like, I don't know, I feel like leaning in is the way to go.
no, I just bring this closer.
I feel like ideally we want to be facing each other. We'd want to be on like a dining room table.
No, man, that's fine. We can look at each other too. Like
We totally can, but then it's like there's no audience connection.
what do you mean?
I mean, you have to be like, that needs to
That's how shows work, man. It's a couch, and then you look at
No,
the
but
camera.
no, they usually have a couch that's like they usually at like 90 degrees to each other.
The live?
Most shows in general, yeah, and like podcasts too. It's like
Yes.
they're facing you.
participants.
Yes, exactly. The participants are facing
I
each other.
can't bend the couch, man.
Have you even tried?
You can. The best I can do is like sit like this.
Right, exactly. That's how you do it.
Okay, go in the corner. Did you move the pillow? Okay, go in the corner. You can keep the pillow.
Yes.
Go in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, I have to move this one here.
You have to adjust the smaller set.
How's the big set though?
Okay.
Is that frame right?
Yeah, it's alright. That looks good to me. I mean, I like that perspective much better. It's so much more neutral. It's looking up at us.
Don't worry about that. Like, don't worry about that one. Actually, don't worry about that one. I'm turning it on right now. Don't worry about that one.
Okay.
Oh man. Like I have like 60 followers, and if like 2 show up, like I'll be happy.
Just start it. Yeah. Just start it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm beyond
Oh, there's a familiar video of you being out there.
Yeah. Okay. I just turn on.
We are live, broadcasting to.
Okay, just ignore that shit. Like, it doesn't really matter.
The other shit.
The
shit
shot
you're
is
actually
framed.
recording.
This has been recording for
Yes.
3.5
So
minutes.
ignore it.
No, don't ignore this.
I'll ignore that.
Ignore
the
that.
kind people who are watching us live.
Yeah, if anyone
All
shows
none
up.
of them. It does get recorded too, though.
Yeah, can I use it after?
Yeah, fuck it, man. It's one more face.
I care more about this one because this one's like high def, and I can edit it after.
I'm legit not so sure that like a webcam is higher quality.
No, it's not 4K. It's
No. I mean, not even just that. I think like modern. It's the technology behind it is strange, but like you can just export the video from this and edit it on the computer.
for the phone.
Yes.
But it's streaming live.
But it
it's
will
not.
save it.
It's not local.
It will save it.
Locally?
You can download it from your Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I can download, I'll download it. But why not just use this one?
I mean, you totally can. That's what we're doing. But like, I mean, we can sit here and talk recording semantics for literally ever.
No,
but also, here's a
but
fun. Why there's an interesting. The reason why webcams suck more than phone cameras
Why?
is because they're restricted by the USB bus speeds.
Dude, I was doing a cooking show.
Yeah.
Like my own like thing, right?
Yeah.
And I had the webcam set here, and it was streaming to the cloud.
Right.
But I was using this webcam with the Chromebook, and the buffering or the processing just like put it to shit.
Yeah.
And it was like so jittery, it didn't even like Like, it was unwatchable.
Yeah,
and the resolution was not 1080p. It just went to shit.
Because it can't stream fast enough through the USB port.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like so, but on a phone though, because phones are so like under so much economic pressure to have good cameras.
Yeah.
Their cameras are hooked straight into their processors via PCI, or similar, or similar standard.
As opposed to
USB. So they're
the
basically wired.
protocol.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
protocol
Yes,
through the USB is like there's a slowdown.
Yeah, exactly. It has to be, there's a standard, and it can only transfer so much data at a time, and it's not designed to transfer images.
Yeah, I was considering getting like an actual camera though.
Yeah.
With like an external microphone, because then I could vlog properly.
Oh yeah, but those also come with like expansion cards for your computer to like have the connection speeds that you need. So like
wait, like a PCI, like
because that's what you need to get to get enough streaming speed for high def.
Then
video
what's the
recording.
connector type?
There's different kinds. So nowadays you can actually get fancy ones that do operate over USB-C because USB-C is stupid fast.
Like the small one, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
because USB-C is a fucking miracle.
This is just 2.0, I believe. Like maybe 3.0.
Yeah, probably 3.0. I mean, you would not be able to get this on 2.0. The quality, the absolute quality that we have.
I like that I have over 700 gigs. I could leave this overnight and still do the.
I built my machine with a terabyte SSD.
Yeah.
And when I started filling that up, so I just wanted I want enough storage that I can keep my Steam library local.
Yeah.
I filled up 2 terabyte hard drive that I added on in like no time.
Steam library local. How are you gonna have it not local?
Well, you could just not have things installed.
Oh yeah, but it's like if it's on an SSD, then your load screens are just blazing.
Oh, for sure. But like so I quickly realized that there were a bunch of games I wanted like on my computer that I don't play that much. So I got a hard drive, which is 2 terabytes. But that's already gone too.
I'm impressed with the longevity of this one.
When did you make it?
I tried making it and I failed.
Oh.
I failed. I was sweating when I was making it, and I brought it back to the shop, and they did it for like 50 bones.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cheap.
Considering I was freaking out because I didn't know what the point of failure was too.
Oh, did you have like a press power button, nothing happens? Oh, that was terrifying. Like fuck.
Yeah. You spend all day, putting it together.
Oh, yeah, that's both of the machine. No, not both. The first machine I did also had that problem.
Yeah.
But like, it is also remarkable how fucking easy it is to build a computer. It's like use online PC part picker and like get checks compatibility for you and everything.
Selecting like what CPU is compatible with like whatever. PC part picker.
Does it all for
That's it.
Absolute miracle. But yeah, no, I have this very sexy kind of mini tower that is just small enough to pack into a suitcase, like a small suitcase. So it's really good when I was living the college life.
What's that called again?
ITX.
ITX.
Yeah, so it was a mini ITX board. It's actually liquid cooled too. Which is quite, yeah, right?
What do you need that for?
Because
where does the liquid go through? The CPU?
Yes,
Like,
so it's a liquid cooled CPU.
The heatsink. Yeah.
So it's a narrow tower is what it is. Like there are some like really tiny ones that are like the size of shoeboxes, but this one's more. It's like the size of as tall as a normal tower, but it's narrower at the base. Yeah. And it has a glass panel on the front and back, which is really neat, and it exhausts at the bottom. So you can see through. Yeah. Well, you can see. Yeah. So I can see the motherboard and all the bits and.
Yeah, you can watch your dust accumulate.
Well, I clean my fucking dust filters.
It's like watching the gas. It's been a while since I got a can of compressed air and just went to town.
I don't think I've ever. Well, I just take the dust filters and clean them every once in a while. So either way, everything else is black except a couple lights.
I haven't taken the side panel off that in like 3 years. I have no reason to.
Yeah, good point.
No reason to. Tell me your average consumer that slides the dust panel off or the side panel off. Nobody.
Well, no, I've known people who do it to get better cooling on some, like if they're running a really hard game.
Better cooling.
Yeah, some cases kind of stuck for
just to leave it open.
Yeah. They just take the side panel off.
But the point of the grates is to pull air in through the fans. That should be more effective than just leaving it open.
Ideally, but if there's not enough fans, hot air accumulates in the case. So sometimes people, I knew a friend who had, well, not just that. So a lot of cases have a configuration where they have a bunch of fans facing forward, and then there's the front panel, and the front panel has like holes in the side or the top. Well, I could be configured like that actually. and to get additional airflow, they take the front panel off.
Hmm.
Just to let the fans draw in straight fresh air.
Yeah. There's enough circulation in here. I don't think it like will get too dusty in there.
Oh yeah, I mean the worst.
Like if you have a small room and you're I don't know cooped up with no circulation, then probably.
And if they're on like a carpet, just drawing.
Kicks up dust, just gets sucked in by the fans.
Precisely. You know, but no, my computer, I take care of my. It was a mark of pride for me growing up that I took care of my stuff.
That's good.
Yeah, because the thing is, I wasn't like. I always felt like my sister was the one with like good grades, well behaved and shit. I was like, I was the kid that's like, anytime something goes wrong, I'm the first one you blame.
Oh yeah, like your sister eats all the cookies. Your mom's like, did you take the cookies from the cookie?
Exactly. Yeah, story of my fucking life. So it became such a mark of pride for me when my sister had gone through 2 phones in the time I had 1.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, because that's like it's proof. It's undeniable fucking proof that I take care of my shit.
Yeah, did you rub it in?
Of course I did.
Yeah, that's a necessity.
Yeah.
You got to.
Naturally.
Especially if you grow up where, you're the scapegoat.
I mean, not necessarily wasn't deserved. I mean, like when you're the scapegoat, then you begin to break shit.
That's probably
No,
that's probably how you develop your habit of keeping things good and neat.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You need to prove everyone else better, but also if they're gonna screw you over anyways, you might as well have as much fun as I can.
Yeah.
There's no reward for being better.
Yeah.
You know?
I never really attempt to like in school. I never really attempt to overachieve until it like counts. So that's when I needed the grades.
Right.
Like other than that, like I didn't really care in grade 9, 10.
Mm-hmm. Just in 9, 10, 11, 12, that's when you start giving a shit. I never was a good student. But
you're software dev now, right?
Well, so I certainly got into university on the pedigree of my extracurriculars more than my academic achievements.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what were the extracurriculars?
Well, I mentioned it to you, but I guess for the lovelies. For the lovely, how many people are watching?
I don't know if there's anyone watching.
You know, we'll never know. Just never check, and we have the whole world on our plate.
People can drop in or out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. My Instagram, like I don't know if they're checking all the time.
But to answer your question, my extracurricular period, I am a international robotics champion, competitive robotics champion.
Competitive robotics. Did you study mechatronics after you got like into uni?
No, they didn't have a specific mechatronics channel. I just went to. I originally thought I was going to do mechie or computer engineering, but then I realized that really wasn't for me.
Wait, where'd you go to school?
Good old University of Maryland.
Oh yeah, I forgot you were from the States. You only just moved like less than a year ago, right?
Less than 6 months ago, man.
You adapted quick. No, you found that place above the shops real quick too.
Well, I got lucky. I do have family up here, so I was able to stay with them while I hunted.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's
so that
key.
For real. So I was able, I got a little bit of time off of work to like hunt through the city. So like every day I was coming downtown, looking at places. So yeah, I did find something I was at least okay with. I love the location. I fucking hate the building itself.
Yeah, it's a bit unconventional, like the location.
I don't know. I think
or the building. I mean,
there's poetic irony to have your first place living in the city be on top of a noodle shop. It's like, it is the youth person in the city thing. Like, I fucking make a Hallmark movie about me or some shit.
Yeah, it feels like the pilot episode of some show. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I got the voice for it. I can be a character in a TV show.
Like a voice actor for.
No, it's just like in a lot of sitcoms and shit, the characters always like have some unusual. There's always like voice quirks or there's the guy with the deep voice, there's the guy with the nerdy
like
voice.
It's gotta be really like distinct.
Exactly, because they all have to be like caricatures of people in your real life. That's the whole thing behind sitcoms.
And if you can't do voices, you just get typecast for one thing, or you just keep playing the same one over and over.
Well, I mean, listen, if you get to the point where everyone knows you as a guy you've typecast, you've already won. Like, you have a market.
There's this movie I saw
You know?
recently called Anomalisa. Have you heard of that one?
I have not.
It's an animated movie. I didn't hear about it until recently because I'm just watching some movies and discussing them with this group. But
Dude,
there's
join me in the. I fucking love movies.
yeah, we're doing animated movies right now. So this week is like a Studio Ghibli one called Red Turtle. It's very
Red
obscure.
Turtle.
Very obscure, like
It's a Ghibli. How
Yeah.
can there be an obscure Ghibli? Sorry.
oh, it's impossible to find.
Huh.
Like maybe like one Ontario library has like one copy.
What the hell?
Yeah.
And then you can't even torrent that shit.
Do you know how long a torrent it took? Because there were only I only had 3 seeders
Wow.
for like the first hour, and then when the 4th one came in, oh boy, I was getting like 200 megabytes.
That's one dude. The Giga Seeder.
Yeah, and
Oh my god, I love it.
normally for that movie club or whatever, I watch it in the morning before they discuss it, so it's just fresh, and
Okay.
I can just discuss it like with the image in my head. So I'll watch it at like 8 a.m. But I just want headphones on. I can't even get it to my PS3 without a USB key.
Huh.
The PS5.
Yeah.
The PS5 doesn't have DLNA, like the link to your network attached
Oh.
storage.
Huh.
You can't transfer over the network. But
But you can
the older
through-
PlayStations could though.
Huh. Interesting. So you have like a local media server setup basically.
Well, I was gonna set it up to send the Red Turtle file over there.
So you see what I did.
No, I can cast it from the phone,
Yeah.
but I can get my headphones because the TV doesn't support
Right.
USB
Right.
headset.
What I did. So also I just got a sound bar, so I just had to do some audio quality in my
Yeah.
with subwoofer.
Yeah.
But I have a 20-foot long HDMI cable. Which,
Yeah.
Which I literally can route all the way from my desktop.
I considered that
Yeah.
actually, like to pull it from there to there. But doesn't the quality degrade after signal quality degrade after a while?
It's digital.
Buddy, even if you have digital, like there's loss of signal over length.
You would
It's
see
not,
it wouldn't be like, oh, quality loss. You'd see artifacting and problems, and you can get boosted US HDMI cables that chew up a bit more power
yeah.
and boost and signal boost. But
Yeah,
HDMI does not degrade.
No,
after
it
20
shouldn't
feet.
be a huge concern. I'm just like
It does
20
not.
feet though.
It
like,
does not degrade.
That's like stretching it.
It does not degrade after 20 feet. I can assure you.
Okay.
Running it on a laptop, like fuck. Even when I was in college, I would, in order to get, as a programmer, I must have as much screen real estate as humanly possible.
Yeah.
I would.
Wait, how many screens do you have? Do you have one rotated?
I never got into that.
I never got it. I got into it like when I was reading like ebooks.
Right. Okay. That
It
makes
was good
sense.
for reading ebooks, but after a point, like ebooks are not good. I have this magazine. It's a Times magazine on memory,
Ooh.
and one of the articles
When was this?
explains how come you remember shit you read better when it's on a page than on a phone, and it's very interesting because you like remember the spatial location of where the information is when you're reading, so you go back and you know like it was here or here, but
Okay.
on the phone you just fucking scroll.
But that's not necessarily true. The majority of I read things first on my phone, and if I like it, I buy a physical book.
Yeah.
So, but every single reader app that I've ever used has artificial pages.
It's not the same though, because you have like
No, I
it's
don't
like-
scroll. There's no scroll.
Yeah, but you have checkpoints and you can like scientifically proven.
I mean, yeah, I get that versus scrolling. That I can see. But my question is,
Yeah.
did they address artificial pages? Or like
Mm.
simulated page flipping?
The simulated page flipping is different because here, this is my theory to build on theirs. Like the real estate is more, and like visually, like you can like map out like where the information came from in the page.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, but there's nothing stopping you from doing that
Yeah, but it's still on a small screen.
Or that, I mean,
If you have like,
I see. Just more.
if you have like two,
I see.
if you have like two like Kindles like side
I
by
see, I
side,
see what
and
you're
then,
saying.
but then still like
Well, no,
that's just artificially like.
I guess there's
there.
page left or right too.
Yeah.
So whichever one you're currently open
Yeah.
on.
No, you know, like you're trying to look for something you already read. You know where it was.
You look for the shape of the page.
A paragraph and
Yeah.
reference points,
Okay.
checkpoints.
That makes sense.
That was really interesting. This was actually, I was just getting an eye doctor appointment. I had nothing to do, so I picked that up so I could wait and read.
Oh. Is this the same trip we got the PS5?
Oh, no,
Quite
no,
the
no.
fucking haul.
No, not the exact same one. That's the one where Mr. GameStop was like, "Oh, I'll come back next Tuesday, 11 a.m."
Oh, right, that one.
Yeah, it's like, sure, bud.
Oh, God, I need to get my fucking OHIP card. That's what I need to do, but I don't want to do it during Omicron.
Oh, to wait in the line, right?
Not just the yeah.
Oh, can't you process everything online? Come on.
My experience, they require things being mailed. It seems to be.
Well, I know a guy.
Yeah, fake OHIP cards. I don't know if that even works. They have to like have you registered or some shit.
But just to capture attention, when I'll give you the raw file if you do you edit yourself.
I've always wanted to. I need to take like the classes. Are we being schmucked?
No, my buddy's calling. I called him twice today, or past 2 days, and he's returning my call. You know what it looks like, right?
What?
The health card.
Yeah. All of the Ontario things are very blue.
It's green.
No, this one's okay. Nice prison mugshot.
Yeah, I look like a fucking thug.
It is something like scientifically proven that they make like the like ID card shots.
That's a mugshot, right?
Yeah, it really
That's
is a mugshot.
I look like I just committed a crime. I look like I just attempted to rob like a McDonald's. Of all their potatoes.
I did get a driver's license. That I managed to get, and I'm actually kind of happy with how mine turned out. And it still looks like a mugshot, but it's kind of like a slightly sexier mugshot.
A sexier mugshot.
Yeah, like the hair falling over my face.
Oh yeah, the little tuffle.
Exactly. Not so bad. Could be a lot worse.
But what I want to do is like at some point there's gonna be like say this goes on for 2 hours. I'm gonna find like the sweet like 10-15 second clip. There's gonna be a sweet 10-15 second clip.
Oh yeah, get the
it's
highlights.
inevitable.
Get the highlights.
No, I'm not doing a highlight reel. I'm just like there's gonna be within the 2 hours. If there's not 15 seconds of gold, there is gonna be. But I'm gonna use that to put at the front.
Oh, okay. I see. It's
put at the
as
front of the video
the hook.
to the hook, and then I'm also gonna put that on my my story, and then I'll be like link in bio. But usually, like when I do YouTube videos, I haven't done a podcast in a long time. Did I tell you I used to have a podcast?
You did not tell me.
Yeah, I have another channel with all my podcast videos.
fuck.
There's like 8 of them.
Oh.
And the guests are all just my friends and stuff.
That's right.
Some of them actually, and my ex-girlfriend went on the podcast, and that had so many views. Like it had like 100 something.
When she was your ex-girlfriend when she went on the podcast?
She was my girlfriend.
She was your girlfriend who went on the podcast. Okay, this is it.
No.
Because I'm thinking that's a whole.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to get views.
Yeah.
My ex.
Yeah. My ex-girlfriend came on my podcast. She didn't know I was recording either.
Gone sexual or whatever.
Yeah, I just locked the door and like.
Oh god, that's one of you get that YouTube drama.
Dude, one time I was just having joking around with my friend.
Yeah, yes.
And we joke around like, oh, let's like lock people in your basement and stuff, right? So I was a running.
Don't joke about that, man. It's not funny. I mean, like, do you know how many close calls I've had with the police?
Dude, my
they almost caught me.
My
That's how
buddy,
you know.
my buddy was.
Sorry.
By the way, this buddy's kind of sketchy. Like, I don't know. Like,
The kind of guy who might actually have people locked in his basement.
no,
It's like I have people
not
locked
like
in
that.
the
But
basement,
he was parked out there, like in his car in front of the Dairy Queen, and the cops pulled up next to him, like asking him what he was doing there. But he was just like, I think he was just grabbing some stuff and to come back in the apartment here.
The cops are profiling fuckers.
No, he's a straight white male, but it's something about him is a little.
You can have the look. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like it just looks like he's up to no good, man. Like I don't know, he's kind of strange looking. But he also
He's up to no good, trying to make trouble in the neighborhood.
Thank you. We went on a road trip to, I don't know if you know, like towards Detroit. Like you have to go through Sarnia.
I know what the fuck Sarnia is, but I know where Detroit is.
And you have to go through Sarnia, and then coming back, we went through Windsor, and Windsor is like maybe like the most like.
I've heard bad things about Windsor.
Most ghetto, sketchy, like there's like a Windsor University of Windsor, and it's like low class, like low quality, at least in my opinion.
Goddamn poor people.
But I went with him to watch to see a concert. So the concert we saw together, but there was another concert I saw alone because I got VIP tickets like months in advance.
Ooh.
It's Mariana's Trench. Do you know it? Like it's a rock band. So I went, and he was just exploring the town. But it ran late, so we had to go back to the Airbnb, and he didn't know his way to the Airbnb, so he started
in Windsor, Canada.
He started knocking on doors. The first door he knocked on, they called the cops on him. That's like how do you get called? The cops called on you for knocking on someone's door. Like if you knocked on someone's door and you were in dire need of help, I don't think you're the type of guy where they would profile you as someone who needs.
Well, it's a learned skill.
Yeah.
It was a superpower I figured out in high school because I was definitely one of the nerds.
Oh yeah.
And I realized at one point I just figured out if I wanted to leave school I just can. No one's gonna stop me because they think I'm supposed to be doing whatever it is I'm doing. Like if you look right, say the right thing, sound the right thing, put the right inflection in your voice.
Yeah.
Dress right. No one questions anything you do. I could walk into a bank and I can just walk out with a bunch of cash.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like. Just tailgate into the safe, grab a couple of silver bars.
Just wearing a suit. All you have to do is like show up wearing a suit. You look like you're supposed to look like you belong.
Act like you belong, like the subreddit.
Exactly. I know.
You just put on like the construction thing, and then you can get in through security at festivals.
I saw a YouTube video about this guy who is Australian fellow who did that for a VIP arms dealer convention in Sydney.
What, he just wore a construction vest?
No. So it was more complicated. He had to try like multiple times because they were actually like pretty damn good about it.
Okay.
But he managed to slip in as a worker and then through the back entrances. Yeah. When he tried to like pretend to be one of the guys, they caught him.
Yeah.
But by pretending to be the staff, they did not give a shit.
But if you work at like a trade show or something, and you do have access there, you realize that nobody knows you. You can just walk in anyway. Yeah. But just your mentality is like I belong.
Exactly.
But you just have to pick up that mentality, and then you just get in.
But the interesting thing about this guy's video is that like he then went around and started like talking to the guys, and he had this whole like prank thing where you can see like pretended to be an arms dealer with a stupid pitch. And he tried to see if he could sell anyone on it.
Was this in Nevada by any chance?
No, it was in Tulsa, Sydney, Australia. There was like an international convention.
Oh, okay. Nevada, not Nevada. Nevada.
But anyways, so this guy does this, but like the absolutely fucking insane attitude for some of these like for these like arms corporations and their like reps is disgusting. Like a bunch of psychopaths, really. So that was I strongly recommend. I give the guy a shout out if I fucking remembered what the YouTube channel was called. Sure, if you look it up though, it's not. How many videos are there of people accidentally breaking into arms conventions and selling people bullshit?
I played a psychopath yesterday because I'm like in a couple groups where we do script reads, like play reads.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we were just doing monologues yesterday. I did a monologue of a psychopath. It was pretty convincing actually. It's surprising, like
reflection of the self, something. Do you have it?
I don't have it memorized, but if you like really digest the script, like that's half the battle, and then just embodying like what the character is. Dude, I was very interested in acting for a long time, and if I do have it somewhere, my book. This is like a famous like method. It's not a like method acting or anything, but Stanislavski. Like a lot of actors actually study this guy. Like I heard Shia Lebouf on Hot Ones. He's like, I'm not smart enough to study Stanislavski, but a lot of actors actually study this.
Shia LaBeouf is actually quite an interesting character. His strange. He's created sort of an art movement. I'm not sure if I'll actually got into what he's been doing.
That's one of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like,
there's a phrase to it. I'm trying to remember. I watched there was this whole interesting dive that I looked into it. It's a sort of, I guess it's a form of absurdism.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a sort of media philosophy.
Like beyond, like taking it like.
No. So absurdist. So absurdism is a sort of lesser known branch, so philosophically speaking.
Okay.
There's a lesser known branch of nihilism known as absurdism.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. Kierkegaard was this was his thing. Soren Kierkegaard. Yeah, the Danish philosopher who this was his response to the nihilist philosophies of a lot of the era.
Machiavellian?
No. So nihilism is essentially, most of human history, people have gathered meaning from religion, from whatever. But then when the 20th century hit and science sort of started taking over, and we started realizing the veil being pulled away, and everyone realizing that there's not really any inherent meaning to reality, and people having to reconcile that.
Yeah.
Nihilism is the inevitable conclusion that nothing actually matters. And that branches off into a whole bunch of different subjects. It's mostly responding to how does one respond to nihilism.
Yeah. Yeah. The impression I have of nihilism is like mainly from The Big Lebowski. Have you seen that movie?
Yes, I have seen that movie. That's a great movie.
Yeah. They're like commenting on nihilism.
Those are edgy idiots' interpretation of nihilism. That's sort of the joke.
But one of the characters, I forget who, but he's like, you say what you want about the tenets of National Socialism, but at least it's an ethos.
Nihilists, we believe in nothing. That's not actually what nihilists believe.
Yeah, but it's funny.
Yeah, it is
like,
funny.
You piss on my rug.
I fucking love that movie. The funniest shit to me is that like the whole thing happens and like their friend just like dies of a heart attack or some shit. And at the end they go to spread his ashes, but the wind blows it back and they get covered in the ashes. And it's like
every time I go to a fucking bowling alley, I just want to grab one of those. Like, the thing that Jesus did. It's so funny, man. He's like. He's like cleaning the bowling ball.
But no, anyways, that's like a parody of like nihilist people, but like actual nihilism is interesting, but absurd. So, like I said, there are different sects of nihilism depending on how you interpret the reality of like the universe has no inherent meaning. Now what? And absurdism. So there's a couple ways of interpreting nihilism. It's like the world has no meaning, nothing matters. The world has no meaning, nothing matters, I can do whatever I want. That's absurd. Absurdism is acknowledging that reality is kind of fucking stupid. Like, just fundamentally stupid. And that we're really taking it all too seriously. And that there's no meaning to ascribe, and you should revel in that.
It's like looking at the irony
Exactly.
in nihilism.
Precisely.
Yeah.
There's a sort of joy to the meaninglessness of things.
Yeah.
Because maybe every great thing you've ever done will get washed away, but so will all your mistakes in the grand scheme of time. See it as a freeing aspect.
But you seem like a guy that doesn't really hold on. Well, depending on what, like, because we'll maybe brush that aside. But you seem like a guy that doesn't really hold on to like just things that upset you. Is that true?
That's a complicated question to answer.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, do I hold things? I don't like to let things brush me by without.
One of the articles in here was saying a guy with extraordinary memory, but like it's like specific to like knowing the exact date and time of like any major thing that happens.
Right, like a savant essentially, yeah.
Something like that. But at the detriment of like just having such vivid memories of like the negative things.
Yeah.
It just festers. Yeah.
I mean, the question, I guess,
festers.
What it comes down to, what does it mean to be stuck on something? I mean, some people seem to be able to blissfully forget and not think about things.
That's not good.
That's not me.
That's not good.
That's not me.
That's not good.
I remember. I have an upsettingly good memory.
Same. Not upsettingly, is it?
In some ways, I'd argue.
Really?
There's some truth to ignorance being bliss. Sometimes it's nice to just focus on whatever the fuck you're doing and not remember about some cringy shit you did back in high school.
Yeah. That's true.
You know, it doesn't help you.
That's true.
But what does it mean to be stuck on something?
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Say you have like an incident that happens, like an encounter with someone, and it's negative. For example, you get like scolded for maybe you're in the wrong and you get scolded by a stranger. Just like latching onto that years later.
I don't do that, but what I do, especially for things I know I fucked up.
Yeah.
I never blame things on other people. I am an angry human being, just in general.
You take responsibility for your own shit.
Yeah, but it's kind of more that if there's a way to describe my core personality, it's that I'm an incredibly angry person, but I can't get angry at other people. I'm pretty easily hurt.
Oh, yeah.
But I respond to hurt with anger at myself and the world. And the anger I put towards myself hurts myself again and drives more anger. Yes.
Yeah,
it's like people. The problem is with it. I don't know if this is the problem. On one part, it's motivating. I'm really good at hammering into things and like and being aggressively thinking about things till right at the core. You know, and I see things a lot of people don't because I'm just so dogged in how I, and how I push down on problems. And it's really helped me overcome a lot of problems I've had in the past. On the other hand, there's a sort of internal dissatisfaction with things because I'm always getting angry, and then like there's always something wrong. There's always something that needs to be fixed. There's always something to have righteous fury at. You know what I mean? And there's some joy to the righteous fury, and that's part of what makes it hard to quit because it's fun.
Remember when I met you at the Loose Moose?
Yes.
Man, my first impression there was like, oh my god, this guy, like, I don't know if I can sit here the entire hour. Dude, and I didn't have I had a strange experience the last time I was at the Loose Moose before you came.
Right, yeah, you were telling me that.
I'm
gonna run to the bathroom real quick, but put it on video for the world to enjoy.
I'm not gonna.
The Loose Moose is where the magic happens. That's the moral of the story.
Actually, man, I like this format.
What?
I like this format. Oh, sorry.
This is good. This is working pretty well.
See, it makes sense to leave it rolling first, eh?
You need a table. That's what it needs.
There is a table.
With a higher camera position.
For the phone or for the?
For the phone. Well, you ideally want them next to each other.
Oh yeah. Well,
it might a similar shot.
It's all right.
But yeah, sorry. So yes, you were saying.
That was wild, man. I don't know what. Like, she was a pharmacist, man. She was a legit pharmacist. Like, I know she was a pharmacist, and she was not shitting me because I was listing drugs that I take,
Yeah.
like pharmaceuticals.
Oh, I know that. So or she's an addict.
No, these are like not like.
Yeah, you can be a prescription drug addict.
No, but these drugs people don't like.
Okay,
abuse,
no one's enjoying them.
No one's enjoying these drugs.
Gotcha.
But she knew them.
Hmm.
So she's not even bullshitting. But like, why would a pharmacist do such a thing?
Do what for you?
Sit on my lap when I'm a fucking stranger, and then buy my dinner and disappear.
See, there you go. That's your beginning clip for you right there.
Yes, you got our 15
There you
seconds.
go. There you fucking go. All right, that took way too long to tease out. That's why it was great. Yeah, the setup.
It's like
the
I
setup.
gotta go to the washroom first, and I was like, okay, let it build.
And then you start like telling the other half of the story without like why.
Yeah, no.
Like,
where's the context there? Where's the context there?
Yes.
I'm just left in the dark.
But now we got that fucking sweet ass juicy context.
That's the meat, right?
Exactly.
Like you cook like a brisket for long enough,
and you soak it in the context.
Yeah, like a Mark Zuckerberg, like
Zuckerberg.
we just launched Meta. Like, I'm gonna put some sweet baby rays on that brisket and smoke it.
Wait, is it launched?
No, I have a friend who works for Meta.
Yeah, but it hasn't launched yet.
No, like if you look at the metaverse right now, it's like fucking like alpha, man. Like.
Okay, but there is something you could theoretically join if you're like part of the alpha group.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there's already a speculative market on like the real estate right now. With each like coin, you can like buy like a part of the blockchain or whatever.
Using Zuckbucks.
Whatever it is, man.
I think weren't they making Libra or whatever? I love how that fell apart. That was crypto's only chance for being a real thing.
What was?
Libra.
It
was this was a while ago. No, it wasn't too long. It must have happened. It peaked in 2018.
Did you hear about CryptoPunks? You can keep going, but.
Yeah, but so back in it ended in 2018. That's when the project peaked. But it was like a whole bunch of big tech companies got together and were planning on making their own cryptocurrency. And Facebook was spearheading it. And it was called Libra. But I forgot exactly what happened. Facebook got caught in some scandal, then the company started pulling out, and the whole thing collapsed.
Tragic. Sad
because
story.
I the worst thing that I ever want to tell to a crypto bro, because I can already see
bro.
them. Yeah, fucking crypto bro. It's like I can fucking hear the steam shooting out the ears when they tell you being decentralized is not actually a good thing for a currency. like people actually want it to be backed by something. People call fiat currency, they're backed by the governments that run them.
Decentralized is good for like certain contracts. Like for example, a voting system.
No, dude, don't do an electronic voting system. You just don't. You just fucking don't.
Why not? I was gonna but like follow like a whole guide to do a decentralized application for an electronic voting system.
The electronic voting systems. So the problem is the whole trust thing is a big thing. But elections and politics are its own extra funny thing that changes the game a little bit. And the paper ballots are still used for a reason. Even digital machines produce paper trails. And the reason is because as soon as there's any disconnect between what people are putting down and what's appearing on those ballots, like there's already enough you do not have electronic voting systems. Just don't fucking do it.
Did you hear about that one election in the States? I don't know if it was a recent one, but the way they had the bubbles placed, people were voting for one candidate, but filling in the wrong bubble because the placement of the bubble was wrong, or just like
the print is like misprinted basically.
Not misprinted. It's just like the bubble was like because the way they had the candidates listed, the bubble was like.
It was like 45 degrees off.
It was ambiguous.
That's what I'm saying. So like misprinted. Like it's supposed to line up, but they were like 45 degrees off.
It was ambiguous, and that just fucked up like the votes.
Yeah. The elections are incredibly sensitive to even the most minor perceived possibility of tampering. Do not listen. All of the digital world We just saw this happen with the Log4j crisis. I don't know if you're following
What's that?
that. The Log4j crisis.
What's that?
It was so every once in a while the whole cyber security community shits itself because someone finds a problem with something and everyone's using it.
Oh, exploits.
Yeah, the Log4j exploit. So let's go back and the Log4j.
The
year is this one.
2022.
This happened like a month ago. 2020 or 2021, I guess. It was like it happened like right on the New Year, which is even worse because everyone wanted to go on vacation.
Oh.
So like everything was like shutting off for a little bit. There were like all these service outages and stuff because all of these big companies were shutting down their servers to patch Log4j bugs.
Log4j.
So let me explain what Log4j is. No, it's not it's an application. It's a library.
Oh.
In software land, nobody fucking wants to write things if someone else has already done it. Everything's instantly shareable. It's like piracy, but everyone's in on it.
No, fuck. You know what?
I'll show you. I always have something, eh? I always got something on my sleeve.
Still like yes.
Hey.
But the thing is that tech is especially strange because there's so many people who basically, you know, it's not like making something and putting out there and like, oh, technically this is mine, just acknowledge it, you know, and take inspiration from it.
Yeah.
Programmers have created a culture and community of making shit and sharing it for free.
Yeah, open source.
Bingo.
Ba-da-ba.
So Log4j is an open source package.
Yes.
But it's not just any open source package.
Mm.
For pretty much every Java application server system, which is there's a lot of fucking Java application server systems. Log4j is a logging program that, like, whenever somebody does something, your computer makes a connection with the client, it sends some files. It makes log files.
Yeah. Oh, it generates it.
Yes.
And then it generates into a very sensitive part of your computer with.
Not even. They're not sensitive. Not necessarily.
No, but like there's certain like key files in your computer.
It's not one of those.
No. Okay.
No. So the security bug is even dumber than that. Trust me. It's nothing to do with that. The problem with Log4j is something else. But the things that here's what you need to know about Log4j. Like, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, it's like
it's huge. And not just that. Even if you're not using it, the thing you're using is using it. And the problem in the Log4j exploit allowed that to fuck with everything. Just like being connected with something.
It's like underlying.
Not even underlying. It's if you're touching it, you're toxic.
Okay.
Because Log4j allowed you to perform what's called an arbitrary code execution bug. It let you. There was a strange. So to back up, another thing you need to know about Log4j. It's written by two people for free in their free time.
Well, I mean, that's fine.
No, it's not.
No?
Because this is the horrifying thing about tech is a gigantic inverted pyramid where basically all of the modern things that we enjoy are maintained by dudes who do shit in their free time.
Yeah.
By like two people who are overworked and not paid to what they do.
Yeah.
That's the problem with tech. Is that so much of it is based off of this free shit and it's all no one knows where the fulcrums are.
Yeah.
You know? And when this bug was discovered that basically let any connecting server do a dumb little dance by requesting log information and then send them a fucking Java program to run. And Log4j is like, sure, I'll run it for you.
Like client side.
Yeah, but accepting things client side that it shouldn't and then running code from anonymous machines.
Yeah.
With no security.
What a loophole. What a loophole.
Yeah, so like literally the entire security community shit itself.
Here's the key to the safe.
Basically, like Log4j, that's the problem. Log4j was giving people the security key to the safe.
Yeah.
And anything connected to it would do it too.
So, like, what's the big company that lost like a lot from that?
All of them. Everyone was fucked by Log4j.
I can't believe I didn't hear about this. I work in tech.
If you work, you got to be in. I guess if you're in any of the web development, web development circles, right, and then software development circles. But yeah, huge problem. And every once in a while, big shit like this just crops up. There was a big one in banking back in the 2000s called the Heartbleed bug that let you read arbitrary information off of banking servers.
Jeez.
There was another one. Then there are occasional hardware bugs because there's only like two companies that manufacture hardware.
Yeah.
Intel or AMD really.
Yeah.
Well, not IBM. If you want to get technical, but
I worked at a bank in 2014, and that was when they eliminated the penny. So I wonder where all the pennies are.
American moment. They haven't gotten rid of our fucking pennies.
What do you mean?
We still have a penny.
Yeah, but where are they?
No. I mean, we still use them in the U.S.
Oh, right. You're an American.
That's what I'm saying. I just sound like a Canadian. Like when we eliminated the penny, I'm like, wait, we did? But I actually do know a little bit about that. They literally hunt that down and destroy it.
Yeah.
Yes, the government. When you eliminate a currency like that, the government like buys them back essentially, exchanges them for newer currency. They're like, yeah, well, trade in your trade in your units of 5 cents. We'll give you back new coins, and they literally melt down.
Yeah, it's common, but like the common knowledge, but the value of the copper in the penny was more than the penny was like on the currency exchange.
They have very little copper underneath these.
Yeah.
Yes. They're mostly nickel brass. I think they're mostly nickel.
True.
But either way, you're right. The value is still probably more in the metal. You are being.
Yeah, it's my friend who works at Meta. He's answering my question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I asked him if he knows about the digital real estate, like if he's like got his hands in that pot.
I still cannot believe how innovative people seem to say. You know what it is, and I was gonna say this earlier, but we just got it ready to shit. The tech industry is so fucking desperate for the next thing that's gonna shake up the world. They're so certain it's coming.
Yeah. What's that called?
A cult?
No. Disruptive.
Yes. They're looking for industry disruptors. But we're running out of.
There's even in the banking, like banking. There's market analysis, and they look for disruptive technologies in anything.
But that's a fucking joke. You can't know, and not to say you can't know.
You know what?
It's drying up.
You know what? I'm not upset about this, but I'm like pretty smart for thinking about this because about March of 2020 when like no COVID like came about and when we started hearing about like vaccines being produced, I had my button to buy Corning. Do you know what Corning is?
Glass company.
The vials, man. Dude, man.
I made you a packet.
Uh-huh.
Made you a packet.
What?
That probably made you a packet, and that's not obvious.
No, I didn't click yes. Man.
Oh.
Yeah, it didn't make me a packet, but fuck. I had the thought. It was cool.
That's the thing is that when you try to time the market like that, sometimes you make it, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
The stock market is a gigantic money tornado that's a scam against the entirety of society.
Yeah, I don't really need to have done it, but just like knowing that I thought about it is just like satisfying.
Yeah,
like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I saw it. I made a future. I did the same thing when I was in high school. I had like an idea for a. You know how like they have all these kind of like desktop-esque laptops.
Yeah.
I had that. I came up with those before. They were cool.
But I did have another investment idea that was also really stupid. I was gonna invest in Master or Dudley or something because I was like, once all the kids go back to school, they're gonna need locks for their lockers. I never actually looked into like if it blasted off.
But Master Lock is like the worst lock company.
In terms of security?
Yes.
Physical security?
Physical security. Easily pickable. Incredibly pickable. You can get like a little twisted little bit of metal, jam it into the keyway, and wiggle it around, and they open up. Most of them.
Pickable.
I love it.
Hey,
but no, as part of my current project, I've been doing a fuck ton of research on locks, and when I say research, a lot of that is just watching the Lockpicking Lawyer YouTube channel at 3 a.m.
The key for this apartment is actually a secure key because
you have to come in at an angle. Like this part here makes you have to come in at an angle, like that. You gotta go like that.
Oh, you mean the keyway turned essentially?
Yeah, like you can't go straight in. You gotta fucking like go like that.
I mean, you know what? That is not actually. It's not pick protection. It's copy protection.
Oh yeah, that's what it says. Do not duplicate.
That's what it is. It's because it's hard to get a machine that will copy that groove. Yeah, but it does not stop. It's to stop you from coming back after they kick you out.
Oh yeah.
It's not there to stop pickers. A picker can probably knock that. A picker of decent skill can crack it open.
They've sent contractors here for much less, man. Like I was saying, like one contractor came in here to use some little chemical to wipe dirt off the cabinet because the landlord reported just like nonsense.
I wonder if he was getting like, if it was part of a scam or something. Maybe
I don't know.
they were. Maybe he's
Like,
getting his money from someone else.
Like this landlord is like something's up because I got his electricity bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
His power stream bill because he had a cycle before I came, so it got in the mail. I opened it. Sorry, and I sent him a photo of it. He tells me, "Can you scan it and send it to my email?" Am I your secretary, man? Like, I did it for him, but like, come on, like
$10 off the rent for its secretarial
I
duties.
I sent you a picture of it if you wanted.
Yeah, your landlord. It sounds like there's a lot of fucking sketchy landlords in Toronto.
That's why I'm glad I don't have to interact with him, but he's never gonna come here.
Yeah, I mean, but just, I think it's best to have a landlord who lives in the same building or near it, or like actually like renting a room that someone owns and lives in, or in a building someone owns and lives in, because then they have an incentive to actually take care of it beyond just like keeping the rent.
I'm wondering if I'm ever gonna put a. I never noticed that.
What? Oh, right. There's a big scratch in the.
It's not a scratch.
Or it's like something like a dribble or
It's a blemish.
Yes. They screwed up when they were applying the paint.
But I wonder, like,
Paint streaks.
if I'm gonna put like a painting here.
That's it. It would be perfect.
Yeah.
I have a big. You haven't been to my living room yet. Now that there is actually.
I've never been in your place.
Oh, you're right. You haven't because there was no couch.
We just went to your neighbors.
You are correct. Now there's a living room. Now there's like
Yeah,
shit to like
yeah.
live in and do and see.
But it's a leather couch, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were a leather couch guy.
No, I just.
That particular one.
That particular one was nice.
Just tickled your fancy.
Exactly. No, it's a fabric couch. But what I do have is a gigantic. Yes, thank you. Camel hair, because it's from Egypt. Camel hair tapestry hanging over the back of like a beautiful sunset of the Nile that my parents got in Egypt in like the fucking 80s.
Nice. my parents have like a polar bear rug. It's like not real polar bear fur, but I don't know if it was my dad or mom that was like ironing and dropped the iron on it.
So it has a burn mark in it.
It's not burnt. It's just like melted.
Because it's like plastic essentially.
Yeah, it's like some
polyester.
polyurethane.
Yeah, polyester fabric, whatever.
Polyamorous.
That's funny. Polyamorous polar bear.
Yeah, well.
Oh fuck.
Oh, come on.
Uh-oh, live video reconnect. No, shut up. I don't want to know how to make banana bread. There we go. Okay. Google be complaining about banana bread. Just have to like make your own.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, weird shit. I mean, I'm glad I brought that with me all the way from. It's the perfect like decorative piece. That, and I also brought. So I had before I left, I had all the people I know put things on cards. Like draw little dumb pictures or write things. And so now I have a corkboard in my room full of all of the well wishes and things from parents and friends.
Nice.
Yes.
A corkboard.
And when you come to visit, you will make one. I will make everyone.
Oh, sure. I'll sign your cats too.
Is that a threat?
After kick your ass in returnal.
Alright. Well, listen, you gotta make it past like the second room to fucking do that, Jesus Christ.
I know.
You gotta set up like OBS or something. Well, I think, how do you record, you have to set up like a capture card for a console, right? You can't, it's hard to capture raw footage on a console. If you want to do recording.
Okay, one thing about PS5 is you can't plug in a regular webcam. You have to get their like Sony one. Yeah.
You don't. What you do is you hook your HDMI to your PC through a capture card, and that has a pass through. That's what you do.
I don't know. If I do like invest in some video software, video hardware, I probably wouldn't do a webcam. I'd do like a vlogging camera.
Yeah,
Like
so it's something decent.
I can take it with me.
They have like full like expansion cards for your PC with like everything, all the ports that you need for things.
PCI Express.
Gen 5. They are coming up with a new gen. PCI.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. I mean, they are backwards compatible.
Nice.
As they all currently are.
Like physically, it fits.
And computationally.
Oh. it's like physically it fits, but you know, it just.
I mean, it's usually good design that if it doesn't work, it shouldn't physically fit. If it does fit, it should at least work. But
yeah, that's true.
not necessarily true. Not for all devices.
The difference between PS4 and PS5 with the CD tray,
Right.
it's inverted. Actually, it makes more sense with the PS5 because the label faces left.
I kind of hate the design.
Of the PS5?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was stupid. Cha-cha. It's kind of bombastic.
It looks like a Dubai tower.
I don't want to look like anything from Dubai. Dubai's a shithole.
I believe the company I work for is building an office in Dubai.
Gross.
Gross.
Dubai is
I have no desire to go there.
is a parody of everything wrong with modern
Yeah.
21st century economics. You know the world's tallest city? The world's tallest tower, the Burj Khalifa?
The Mia Khalifa?
Yeah.
Put Mia Khalifa in the penthouse in the Burj Khalifa and just...
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah. Live your lovely, luxurious life, whatever, and then leave in the morning and pass all the poop trucks.
Poop trucks.
The poop trucks. Because it's not hooked into the sewer system. Every single fucking day. Like 50 poop trucks line up outside the Burj Khalifa to take the sewage away. There's another one for the hiring role there. Yeah. So that roughly encapsulates everything wrong with Dubai. Looks pretty on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's the Instagram influencers of cities.
Yeah.
Where they have the little bit their camera range looks
front
good,
facing.
and then everything else is shit.
Yeah.
Like, and I said,
It's like going to like a grocery store and like everything's front faced really well, and you pull it back and like there's just like a mess like behind.
yeah, it's like that's not even talking about like the literal slave labor it takes to build a lot of this shit.
Yeah.
Like in the horrifying.
Yeah. No, they grab Indians and then the Indians can't leave
They take away their passports.
because they take away their passports. Tragic.
Yeah, like
Tragic. And they work for like pennies, man.
if at all, because what can they do now?
Slave labor.
Yeah. So the slave labor actually kind of sucks to live there.
Yes.
What it is
artificial.
it is a bunch of children. Oh, not just that. So also
Saudi-
the Palm Islands,
Saudi.
the crown. The crowning
It's a
achievement.
project that didn't get completed.
Yeah, still technically not completed.
Yeah.
But not just that. So they dug up a whole bunch of. They couldn't use desert sand. The grains are too thick. They had to dredge up sand from the seafloor to dump on a coral reef to build islands that are sinking. And climate change, and with rising sea levels.
Hashtag.
So all of this, by the way, so that they can basically build a shitty suburb on top of it. What it is a bunch of children who have been given they're idiot gods who have control over their little domain, who can build whatever the fuck they want because they have unlimited oil money.
Yeah.
And no one to tell them no.
Yeah. Tragic.
Like,
I think like around like Virginia or something in the States, there's like the Chesapeake Bay Tunnel, and that was a marvel when I went on it. Like,
I went through it. That's near where I live.
That was fascinating to me, so much so that I went to their like souvenir shop or info booth or whatever, and I got their official book on it.
Oh.
I was like reading it as a kid, like, and they just made artificial islands, and then they have tunnels, like, and then bridges, and it's really cool.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Huh.
I saw this funny post on Facebook. It's like Elon Musk Boring Company.
Oh,
excellent idea.
Me and Elon Musk have like a one-way disgruntled ex relationship. Used to be a big fan. Then I realized he was full. No. That's not saying one way.
Yeah.
But then I realized he was full of shit. Sorry. You know what? It's an ex-parasocial relationship.
Parasocial.
That's what it is.
See, that's what I'm fostering right here. I just need
send in your used panties.
I have a very deep bath, so I can
You want to start selling bathwater?
My tag, my gamer tag is bath. No, I'm serious.
You're planning ahead with all this. So you're saying that you're about Elon Musk.
Yeah, no, but what was the tipping point or turning point for you to just like not like him?
It first started when the pandemic hit,
Yeah.
and his blatant disregard for worker safety. And like that, he was like fighting against California for the shutdowns while his workers were getting sick on the line. And that's kind of when it started. My faith had already been shaken a bit.
For his like all his companies, or
yeah. And I also heard it's like working for Tesla and SpaceX actually kind of sucks.
Yeah. I had
a friend who worked for SpaceX for a bit.
I know that.
Yeah.
I went to a conference. No, I went to Las Vegas for work, and there was a conference for Tesla.
Yeah.
And I just felt like the Tesla employees were a little bit pretentious.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And I know. So what really also it was death by. He really kept like laying it on. It wasn't like a single thing. He's just kind of slowly realizing bit by bit that he's actually full of shit. The Cybertruck. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What in God's name of poor design is that stupid thing? Why they had an incredible the Tesla. One of the reasons I first started liking them in the first place was like this whole thing with Tesla.
Yeah.
It's just how beautifully and immaculately how incredible the industrial design of the Tesla series is.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. The design is so beautiful, so clean, stands out. You know, it's what made them sexy.
Mm.
And then he makes the fucking Cybertruck. And I gotta wonder what the fuck is going on here. Who's doing like.
You know, one of his rockets, he's like, we gotta make it more pointy. You heard about that?
I did not.
He's like, we gotta make it more pointy. That's like some Austin Powers shit. But he got it more pointy, and it was less aerodynamically, like it didn't make sense to make it more pointy. But he just wanted his rocket more pointy. Which I find kind of amusing, but like, it's not really practical.
The nail in the coffin for me.
Was it Dogecoin?
No.
Him on SNL? What was it?
Not even close. Me learning about infrastructure.
About infrastructure.
And realizing that he is but the latest, and especially with this, the worst offenders is this stupid Hyperloop bullshit. And his like underground tunnel boring company bullshit.
Yeah?
Because
what's a
he
Hyperloop
is
again?
Vacuum tubes. Vacuum tube trains.
Huh. I was thinking like another CERN.
No.
No.
it's trains. That's the problem. That's it. He is one in a long line of shysters.
Shysters. Like with the municipal or with the governments, like
it's transit vaporware, also known as gadget bombs. Everyone hates traffic.
Yeah.
Idiots look at traffic and think that the best way to deal with traffic is to add more lanes.
No, because there's this thing about that is like the demand goes up with more lanes, and you'll get congestion anyways.
Yes, but then there's a long, proud Western history of people thinking that they can do better and come up with some stupid, horribly inefficient solution, but that kind of captures the public attention by being all futuristic. It was monorails in a previous iteration.
I'm just thinking Simpsons.
But the problem is, every single one of these stupid ideas that they have cannot outperform a bus or train. That is the problem. Every single time, a bunch of tech bros think they can come and disrupt the transit industry by doing some like cool techie bullshit. They always just come up with worse trains and buses. His boring company things with pods that go underground is just a shitty metro.
That's the thing I was about to say.
Yes.
Like, oh, you've reinvented the
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They keep reinventing and rebranding subways and trains, and his Hyperloop is just shitty high-speed rail.
Yeah.
But with more points of failure.
Yeah.
and it requiring even more expensive to build because it requires even straighter tracks and fucking vacuum sealing.
Speaking of
and also airlocks that slam open and close 100 times a day, thousands of times a day.
Speaking of like useless projects, there's this bridge in China.
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes to like Macau or Hong Kong or something, but you have to have a certain like combination of passports to use the bridge, and only a few people can use the bridge. But it was like
So like goes to Hong Kong. Well, Hong Kong's now China. I guess it's changing. Hong Kong's making a long-term investment in probably. Right, betting man.
Whatever it is, at the time of reading the article, only a handful of people could use that bridge, and it was like a big project.
That's amazing.
Yeah, people use this project.
Well, China has a very the thing is, America has a weirdly similar problem to China, but just 50 years earlier. China is propping up its economy with massive infrastructure spending that it can't justify, other than the fact that it's a stimulus package. The U.S. is on the other end of doing that, and is currently burdened by incredible infrastructure liabilities that do not bring in enough revenue to sustain them. They are literally not worth fixing, but we can't let them fall apart because people rely on them. It's just not enough people rely on them to justify the price. So that's why we're having these infrastructure bills and everything's falling apart. The United States is a place of slow, sad decline now. And that's the way it's going to be from here on. All these towns and municipalities.
Like the subways and stuff?
No, so mostly roads.
The roads.
Mostly. But other things too. Sewage plants, sewage treatment, water infrastructure, power infrastructure. A lot of it. So here's
poop vans.
The inevitable. Well, the American dream never said nothing about owning your own septic tank. That's what it is. No, so what? There's a mantra still floating around a lot of people, with a lot of assholes these days. The best thing a government can do is do infrastructure investments because it creates short-term growth. In the terms of you're paying you get a new bridge, and you get economic investment from the bridge, and then you get you pay all these like construction companies, and then that helps stimulate the economy, and that's basically stimulus but better, because then you leave something lasting. But that's a lie. It's really easy to fuck it up, and actually to have be worse than just paying people that money. Worse, like in terms of as opposed to stimulus being just fucking giving people checks.
Yeah.
This thing is worse.
Yeah.
Because not only are you giving it to depending on how much bargaining power the workers have, you might not really be stimulating the economy. It could just go and be a few rich assholes. Usually it is.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the actual project, it is very easy. It is too easy, in fact. People think of infrastructure as a thing you pay for once and use forever, but that's a fucking lie. You have to be able to pay for the price of the thing over and over and over again for its lifetime.
Yep.
And you have to keep justifying that. And the majority of the things that the United States has built in the past 60 years are not worth it. They don't bring in more tax revenue than they cost. And so they are slowly but surely bankrupting towns and cities all across the United States. And that debt is traveling up. When states need to rebuild their roads and their sewage systems, and they don't have the money because there's no way they could have money. It's not a matter of saving, corruption drew it away. There are case studies of towns that they would have to in order to repair their sewage system, they'd have to tax a town's entire average annual income for each resident. The problem is that it all comes down to the development patterns and the way we build things. Because a lot of these city services that people provide, that people have gotten so used to having in the 21st century, they work best when buildings and people live close together. And they become exponentially inefficient when people sprawl out. Have you ever heard the phrase urban sprawl? That's what it is. That's what's happening. Is that for the last 60 years, everyone's been wanting to live in the fucking suburbs. We built all these incredibly low density places. We don't build anything in middle density. You see, but we are in a tower in the middle of low density sprawl. This is what's called the missing middle, because there's nothing in the middle, which is actually the best of both worlds. You get lots of space. Like townhouses. Why don't we have more townhouses? Because everyone wants their stupid lawn with the house offset to take up even more space. Everyone wants as much lateral space as possible. Not even just that, but this is what we're building because we zone it too. Zoning is a big problem. But the point is, this method of construction is typically not paid by the local municipalities. It's a sort of weird Ponzi scheme. City wants to grow, get more tax revenue. So an outside developer comes in and offers, or maybe the city offer, maybe the state government or the federal government, or I guess here would be the province, offers and say, hey, we'll build this for you, and then some more people will move in, and you get the free tax revenue, and then we just hand it off to you, and you do the maintenance.
To
the city.
Okay.
And they said, that sounds like a great idea. So they build some shitty new development on the edge of town, putting their effort there, while their downtown cores rot and get replaced by parking lots.
Yeah.
And so they have this shiny new development. People move in, they get a sudden boost in population, the tax revenue goes up, and they're happy. The problem is that it's a trap. In about 30 years, when all that infrastructure needs to be replaced, which is the average time it takes to repair the ship, even if the city's responsible, so they get this infrastructure built, and they go in, they say, okay, we know that we're gonna have to fix this, and we're gonna set some tax money aside every single time to help fund it. So they start putting money aside, and then their savings go up and up and up, and then 30 years come by, and it wasn't enough. It's never enough, because it's, if you're losing money on every purchase, you don't make it back in bulk. The simple reality is that these things never make their money back. So the finances dip unless they keep building and keep bringing in that immediate tax revenue.
Yeah.
And so they're trapped in a cycle of growth. They have to keep growing or they go bankrupt.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening to so many towns. And that's why people are like, there are so many reports of towns in the US and then also in Canada too now.
Yeah.
Of having to shut down city services, less policing, shutting down the lights, closing libraries, because they're running out of money to keep.
What's a prime state that is experiencing this?
Clearly, all of it. This is a universal. I mean, it's especially worse out west where there's less old growth. Old growth is a lot more sustainable because it's denser.
Yeah.
But like Texas, is like Houston, LA is probably a prime example of a hellish urban sprawl. But they're growing fast enough that they don't feel it. But if you want like really good, the Rust Belt, the whole Rust Belt is like this. They stopped growing, which is already bad enough economically. But that's not enough to make a municipality go bankrupt. It should be okay as long as you're not spending money on people like city services ideally should scale with the number of people you have. If you lose people, you should be spending less. But when you have all this infrastructure, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So cities like Detroit, cities like like Cleveland, Ohio, all of these old Rust Belt cities.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are like the high profile ones that are basically like bankrupt municipalities. The city of Tampa, Florida, pays more in debt on its water infrastructure than it does in maintaining its water infrastructure.
Wow.
Like by several times more.
Huh.
Yeah. Like it happens everywhere. It's such a consistent pattern. It literally is every time you've ever seen. This is what's happening currently.
How do you get out of that cycle? Is there like some?
Yes, there are three. Well, I'm not sure if three, but there's a number of core things that you can do to immediately solve the problem.
Yeah, depending on how deep.
I mean, it takes a couple decades to dig your way out, but to start, death to single-family zone. This does not mean outlawing single-family houses, but what happens is, and this is actually like a strategy that like property investors use to maintain, and this is directly tied into the housing crisis, by the way, all of this.
All right.
Because what happened, our housing supply is artificially restricted by zone.
Mm-hmm.
Places might want to get denser, but places are zoned for exclusively single-family housing. You can't build anything. You can't build townhouses. You can't build duplexes, quadplexes, things that people like to live in and that are cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Things
unless
that
it's zoned for that, and it's not very often zoned for it. Yeah.
Here's another question. Why are there no corner store in your neighborhood? If you probably grew up in a suburban neighborhood too.
Yeah, Markham.
Where was the closest store?
It was a gas station just outside
the neighborhood. Because it's illegal. You can't build anything in the neighborhood. Even if you wanted to run it in out of your house, it's not zone. Break the zone. That's step 0. You can still build housing if you want, single-family housing, but you need to let people do other things.
Yeah.
People will automatically, where the demand is, people will start building more. People will start building corner stores. People will start running businesses out of their homes again, which is another great way to increase density because it reduces the amount people have to commute. It reduces load on roads, reduces maintenance costs on roads, reduces demand costs for roads. So zoning is a huge one. Getting rid of single-family zoning is of the utmost importance. The second thing you can do is scale back road capacity. Increasing car capacity for roads makes sprawl worse because it lets people commute further and faster. We want people to live locally.
You mean like extending another lane?
That's a big part of it. Or getting rid of lanes if you can. Literally, getting rid of them is incredibly effective and it reduces your maintenance costs long term. Anything you can do to get rid of, thing is like, and one of the reasons like a lot of cities are getting rid of their bike lanes. A lot of urban planners are aware of this, and you're starting to see the fight break through.
Yeah.
But like,
well, is there like a prime example of where they pulled out a lane and
where I live.
Yeah.
One of the reasons is that I had plenty of time to explore Toronto looking for places
Yeah.
to live. And I found the Annex neighborhood
Yeah.
my favorite spot in the city.
Yeah.
And part of it is because that's exactly what they did. It used to be, Bloor used to be a 4-lane road with constant car traffic and a high speed limit. But they implemented traffic calming measures which slowed things down.
Yeah.
And they narrowed it down, put bike lanes on either side, restricted now it's so much quieter. You don't realize this, but like, hear that constant roar?
With the window open, yeah.
That's the car. That's the 6-lane road right outside your house, your tower. Cars are fucking loud. That's why no cities are not loud. Cars are loud.
So it's not just the sound; it's the smell too.
Yes, the air pollution, everything.
Cars. You don't have to walk.
Yeah.
Remember when we're walking?
Exactly.
We don't want to walk right next to the road.
Exactly. So like everything you can do to fight cars improves the situation. A general rule of thumb is that the more people walking a place, the better.
Yeah.
Not just that actually helps small businesses too. Small businesses compete better when there's a lot of foot traffic.
Yeah.
So just do everything you can to get people to make shorter trips by foot, by car, by bike, by bus, by transit. Literally, cars are the most expensive form of transportation. So just you don't want to get rid of it. People need to still be able to drive things. Emergency services need to be able to get places.
For sure.
Some people will always have to drive.
Yeah.
But you don't want people driving who don't have to.
Alternate map modes.
Exactly. So cutting down on parking availability, cutting down on roadway capacity, these are also central tenets of solving the problem.
Yeah.
And the third tenet is just invest in your downtown cores. There's a horrible irony to a lot of this that I kind of glanced on briefly. If you think about it, you see it, but there's been a lot of data to back this up recently too. The places that generate the most revenue for a city are not the richest. Typically, cities are sustained by their poor residents, who live dense enough that the city services that they receive are less than the taxes that are being paid by a long shot. And that the rich gated communities it's this bizarre inversion of what you think of when you think of like welfare subsidies, but like street parking, that's public space dedicated to that you can only access if you pay a private company. Same with all of your roads. We have hundreds of square miles of public space that you're paying tax money for that is not safe for you to be on, and it's illegal in a lot of places for you to be on without having to pay a public company first. Start taking that space back to the actual public space again, and the community will improve as a result. That's the.
So you said take out lanes, and what was the second one?
So break zoning. That's the first one.
Oh, break zoning.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Break. Get rid of single family zoning.
Yes.
Let people build what they want. Let people build denser. Second one is start cutting down on car capacity.
Yeah.
The third one is start investing in the poorer, cheaper places of your city that are actually making your city money. Because these shitty old rundown places downtown are generating way more money than the one Taco Bell in this gigantic ocean of parking. Like those big box stores, the Walmarts, the Kmarts, the big supermarkets surrounded in oceans of parking, those will never make as much money as the shitty downtown supermarket that's packed next to a tattoo parlor, that's packed next to something else. Like all these stores close together make more money than one big store in a giant parking lot. Always, like clockwork. And so those are the places you need to invest into. Make nice, make it places people want to go, and that's how you save your town.
That's to break the cycle.
Exactly.
How do you do it in a place like Detroit?
Detroit has started figuring this out. Actually, Detroit is starting to recover. They just have to let a lot of shit go. All of these houses, all these services. Their problem, and same with I live near Baltimore. Baltimore is also having a problem similar to this. but they haven't figured out that this is what they need to do. They are afraid politically to hurt the rich people who are still there, because they're the ones who want parking. They're the ones who want extra road capacity. They're the ones who want to drive everywhere and avoid the poor people and don't take the bus. You got to tell them to go fuck themselves. That's how you do it. You know, and you have to start cutting off services to places that are not just dense enough to justify it. That's what Detroit is doing. They're just letting whole places or parts of their city fall apart to focus on the parts that actually matter. And that's what you have to do. You just have to start cutting fat, because what sprawl kind of is, it's like infrastructure fat. It's like there's too much investment money floating around, and it gets stored in as this like horrible leaching material that gets built out on the edge of cities in this infinite sprawling place. And no one, the places that they're getting rid of, these aren't the places, they suck. Yeah, okay, hey, there's a great word that I've heard that describes places like these 6-lane roads out there, the strode. A street is like a cozy road with shops along it, you know, in downtown. A road is like a highway.
Yeah.
It's neither, it's a strode. It has shops along it. Oh boy, this is a great idea. Let's have a parking lot that you then, if you want to turn left, you have to cross 3 lanes of traffic to go and the speed limit is like 80 kilometers an hour. No one feels safe. No one wants to be there. No one's there unless they have to be. They are the death of cities. Fuck stroads. And once you learn it and once you see it, you can't unsee them because they're everywhere. But that is the mechanism by which cities die. They build stroads.
Like halfway between a street and a road, and then a street has shops and you can actually walk along, and a road is supposed to be just dedicated to traffic
to get you from point A to point B. But like stroads, and they usually have a lot of lanes. They're designed for a lot of traffic because they're always clogged, and they have all these street lights, which cost a lot of money, by the way.
Yeah.
A single, like, people don't think about it, but a traffic intersection is like $1 million to install and maintain.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, each one. Each fucking traffic light. Like, it's a lot of money. So just to get you so you can sit there, so you can drive like, 60 kilometers an hour, then wait for 3 minutes. Then drive 60 kilometers an hour, and then wait for 3 minutes, and then drive so that's a stroke. And people are turning in from low speed into high speed from all the shops that are next door, and people are crossing. Like, yeah. What it is it's mixing squishy pedestrians with high-speed traffic, which is also why they're the most dangerous things in North America. Most traffic fatalities don't happen on highways; they happen on stroads like that, with medium speed limits and a lot of cross traffic. So yeah, there you go. That's the infrastructure, and now you know. Now you know, kids. If someone tells you they're gonna build a new highway and that's gonna relieve traffic, they're full of shit. It always gets worse. It will always expand. People just move further out for the cheap real estate and drive more, and you will get stuck with even more traffic.
Did you play City Skylines?
I have played City Skylines. In City Skylines, though, it's like they don't really consider walking. They consider public transit.
Yeah.
But they don't really consider walking and biking as a thing, and so that they kind of it's like it's basically like road design simulator.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. That's my rant about infrastructure. I think it might be one of the most pressing problems that nobody knows about.
Quality rant.
It's informative. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, for sure. I had zero knowledge about that.
I can recommend some books. You should read Confessions of a Recovering Engineer by civil engineer and now charity who fights against this shit for a living, Charles Brown. Yes.
Confessions against this.
Confessions of a Recovering Engineer.
Oh, okay.
So he figured out a lot of this shit. He was that other people have as well, and now they're like the sort of the movement growing. But he's a big voice, and he was a civil engineer in Minnesota who designed stroads basically for a living. And he kept getting commissioned by towns to keep making new infrastructure projects, but they were always broke. Like the towns were broke. They were like shutting down city services and things. Everything I was talking about, like dying.
But these projects are the government like issues the projects, and they're like, oh, we're gonna save you.
Bingo. Yeah, and so the money kept flowing in to build these stupid things, but the towns kept getting poorer and poorer.
Yeah.
And so he eventually figured out what was going on.
Yeah.
And now basically spends his life trying to fight him, his former colleagues.
He probably was working on it like, oh, what a noble cause.
That is exactly. That's kind of what he talks about, this whole this mindset that they had. That is exactly what engineers think.
Yeah.
That like we're helping the world, we're building everything better. And not just that, they have a sort of righteous knowledge that they don't realize the underlying values from the code books. Like they have like codes and how they're supposed to design things, and that they never really have to stop and think about what the values were that those codes were designed by, and that they're not really for economic sustainability. They're all designed around increasing traffic flow, not pedestrian safety. They're designed for driver safety. Everything is designed around driver safety, and that's why pedestrian deaths keep going up, and up and up and up and up. They actually, per miles driven, they went up during the pandemic, even though people were driving less. Why? Because the roads weren't clogged and people were able to go much more irresponsibly fast. Because our streets are really unsafe. Like, yeah, there's a YouTube channel also, Not Just Bikes. Another guy who came to the exact same conclusion completely independently.
Like, apart from the civil engineer who wrote that book.
He was not a civil engineer. He was he was an engineer, but he was like an electrical engineer or something. He grew up actually in London, Ontario. Look, he's a local here basically, and he got a job that had him traveling all over the world, like literally going like round for global trips, stopping like literally no country for more than 2 weeks, jumping from city to city to city to city. So we got to see how so many different people lived.
Nice. And
not just that, he also he hated his own town. He was never really sure why.
Yeah.
He lived in Toronto for a while, but he liked that more. He was never sure why.
Uh-huh.
And then saw all these different places, all the way these different people lived. And then towards the end of this time of his life when he was doing this, he had to stay in Houston. But he needed it in his suitcase. So he looked at his phone and he's like, oh, there's a place that sells suitcases 800 meters away. An easy trip in literally anywhere else in the world that he's been to, because he's been to so many different places. And he's like, yeah, when you travel the world that much, 800 meters. Walking 800 meters is fucking nothing.
800 meters.
Yes, and it was a fucking near-death experience of him like walking along like a highway with no road.
Yeah.
With no sidewalk and like shimmying across a bridge with no pedestrian sections with like cars shooting past like feet in front of his face.
That's the norm, more often than not. And it's like built into our DNA to be able to like navigate these circumstances.
Yeah.
To know how to navigate these circumstances where you shouldn't be accustomed to doing that.
Yes, exactly. He ended up taking a cab back because it was such a fucking horrifying experience.
Too much of a mission.
Yeah, and so that's what got him looking into this stuff and researching, and that's how then he created YouTube. And he ended up moving to the Netherlands because they have the best infrastructure.
That's interesting. They both came up with the same conclusion, but like different ways.
Exactly. Yeah. And so again, he did a whole series. He has a great explanation on that stuff.
But I think it would have been more shocking for the civil engineer, just because he was so like entrenched in the building process, that like, and his mindset had to shift like drastically from like, oh, okay, we're doing this as like a very, very beneficial thing for these poor cities, like sprawl it out, add roads and stuff, and just to find out that
it's making everything worse.
Yeah, it's making everything worse. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's also reflected in their responses. So, the engineer, he now runs a non-profit organization which is trying to fight for this stuff. Yeah. He's fighting for improvement. The Not Just Bikes guy, he fucking left. That's it. His solution was to find the place with the best living because of the nice infrastructure and move there instead.
I don't know if that's personality type or just because that guy just wanted to like reverse what he did.
I mean, probably. I mean, there's some guilt complex is evident in his writing too.
Yeah.
You know. I really I strongly recommend his book, Confessions of a Recovering Engineer, by Charles Marone. But the Not Just Bikes YouTube channel, if you want a free, less time commitment, that's also good. His videos are so well done, and they're all about like better. Here's how the Charles Marone talks a lot about like oh, here's strategies we can do to make things better.
Yeah.
And like here's why it's bad. Not Just Bikes guy. He shows a world that's better because he moved to a place that's better, and he likes to talk about, well, like, this is where I live, this is what they did, this is how the roads are. Look how much better designed the roads are. This is the place
but he doesn't know the root of why. And
well, he actually did. Yeah, like when he discovered, I found Strongtown's stuff, the engineer guy, through him because he found him and then did a video covering him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not a bad way to find out about.
Exactly. I mean, everything. The movement is connecting.
Yes.
You know, but like it's such another interesting component of all of this is like we talk about these places that no one wants to spend time in, these places that are made to be ugly. You know, but along the side of a fucking road next to a McDonald's where people buy drugs because no one's there. There's no eyes on the street. No one lives there. He's just chilling behind the McDonald's because
Yeah.
Tell me if you've heard this one before. Back in my day, we used to play outside, but kids these days, all they do is sit inside and play video games.
Why do they sit inside?
What the fuck is out there for them? There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you play with your kids in your neighborhood when you're really young, but then when you get any older and you're a teenager, there's nothing for you out there.
Yeah.
You can't drive yet. Even if you can drive, maybe you have your own car, but you probably don't have your own license. You can't, rely on mommy and daddy to take you everywhere.
It's not
And this
kids-
is this fucked dependency
It's
complex.
not kids these days, it's infrastructure these days.
Kids and parents. I think that I've grown. There's a few things I hate more than gated communities. Gated communities they're always sprawl. They have to be because they are fundamentally isolated, disconnected things.
Right.
One of the worst things of sprawl, and especially American neighborhood design, is that old neighborhoods let you walk through everywhere all the time. They have like footpaths, even if regardless of what the road configuration is for cars,
Yeah.
you can walk anywhere really quickly because
Yeah.
there's gaps between the properties.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything built after the 1960s, that stops being true. You end up with these cul-de-sac designs where the properties are butted up right against each other with these winding roads.
No paths.
Yes, and they're designed. It's an intentional design decision to slow car traffic through, to reduce through traffic by cars, which is a good thing.
Right.
They force pedestrians and cyclists and buses
Dangerous roads.
to take, not necessarily dangerous, because the cars have to go slower because they're twisty and turny.
Okay.
But they force them to take the same long, stupid, circuitous routes.
Yeah. So if I want to get my suitcase, I'm gonna have to go here, instead of the 800 direct meters.
Exactly. It forces you to take these long, circuitous routes, and they make everything further away if you're walking or biking or driving.
Yeah.
And essentially forcing you to own a car, unless you want to take an extra 10-15 minutes just to leave your neighborhood, which is usually how these places go.
So how's the Boring Company Hyperloop gonna solve this?
Oh, it doesn't. They're basically adding lanes by being a shitty subway, and the best part of it, fuck, I gotta send you this video because it's beautiful. It had a traffic jam recently.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. Isn't that everything it's supposed to solve?
Uh-huh.
It worked in the simulation.
It's like it was the ultimate validating irony to see this shit. Like there's another guy who does infrastructure videos, and he does really interesting stuff on like Dubai, and he does more focus on public transit stuff.
Yeah.
But like he's been calling the Hyperloop and stuff like a scam forever. And he has this video which is like he has like a bunch of like, oh, here's the concept. Oh, and here's the first scale down. It's kind of shittier. Here's the second scale down. Oh, it's just like Tesla's in a tunnel. And then like, oh, look at the coverage. And then there's like, da, 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 da. And it's just like the Tesla coming down and seeing other Teslas stuttering backed up, and it's like the music is swelling, and it's just like beautiful. Finally, it has come.
The blue Danube, like. You know the orchestral music when in 2001 A Space Odyssey when like they're docking on the
yes
that
exactly. It's just a fucking line of cars in a fucking tunnel, and not just that, they can catch on fire.
Oh,
this isn't a problem.
That's the cherry on top.
Yes, exactly, and not just that, the tunnels are so tight you can't open the doors. So it's like
but that was there because like with automated vehicles, like you don't have to open the door.
Yeah, but unless something goes wrong and you need an emergency exit, which all trains are designed, all metro systems have emergency underground exits.
What I'm referring to is for like automated vehicles that go park themselves. Like when a system is eventually in place where you just hire an automated vehicle and go A to B, when it's in the lot, there's no requirement for the door to be open because it just parks itself.
Right.
So parking space is conserved. I thought that was why. Like it
but that is why they did that. What they did, they wanted to make a lower diameter tunnel to make it cheaper, but they're discovering the same thing metro engineers have discovered, because again, it's just a shitty metro tunnel, that you need to make them a little extra wider so that in case of some technical malfunction, people can escape the vehicles.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that they're failing to learn from history.
Yeah, and it's like universal, like metro systems. Like those lessons are already out there.
And not just that, there's advantages. There's economies of scale with metro systems where they have intercompatible rail systems, and so every time you add a line that with the same technology, you can reuse
the same boring drills and
well, not just that, maintenance depots and track infrastructure and parts distributors and stuff. You don't have to work all this stuff again, but when you implement one of these stupid gadget bonds, it's all fresh shit. You can't. Nothing's interoperable.
Yeah.
That's another thing. One of the things that's really nice about just trains and high-speed trains is that they can work on normal trains, on normal tracks.
Yes.
And if something happens to one of the tracks, you can reroute a train.
Yes, there's no backwards compatibility.
Exactly. Yes. There's no, with a hyperloop, if it's not a fucking vacuum tube or some bullshit, it's not. Yeah, exactly. If someone picks up, if someone pokes a hole in your fucking vacuum tube, the whole thing explosively decompresses and crushes itself, which means the whole thing will be out of commission for at least a month, and that's being charitable. It'll cost millions of dollars to fix. The whole line is shut down. But if something happens to a train rail, you just send fucking John out with a hammer to reroute the trains for a couple hours, and he just knocks the rail back into place.
Yeah, exactly.
It's sturdy, reliable, and dirt fucking cheap and fast. So yeah, there you go. That's my. Did I just really spend the last 30 minutes talking about infrastructure? Oh fuck, I'm like
beautiful. Beautiful. And that's all from his book, Civil Engineer?
No. So the civil engineers guy is much more focused on local stuff.
Yeah.
He's a very down home this is I'm agglomerating content, infrastructure content that I've consumed across many different locations. They're not just Bike Sky, all sorts of different sources. Like weird transit YouTubers, because those exist.
Transit YouTubers.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
niche as fuck.
It really fucking is. But all sorts of different places. But he actually doesn't talk about Elon Musk much. He doesn't mention Hyperloop in his book because he constantly talks about alternate transit solutions to cars. Yeah. And he's like, don't follow for the fault. He's like, just don't follow for the gadget bonds. He doesn't go much into that in much more detail. But he also talks about the fine details of implementing a good bus system and how you use it to kind of get more wealth from it, or you had to improve the wealth in existing in a place instead of burning it into an investment that doesn't go anywhere. Yeah. And
why is it? Because it's tried and tested and it works, or
No, you can screw up a bus network, even if it's tried and tested. And the way he talks about it is what? Here's a question: you only have so many buses, you only have so many drivers, you only have so much budget. How do you get the most out of it? Yeah. And he suggests
optimize it.
Well, and he suggests, regardless of your route, not even about routes.
Yeah.
It is better always to have rapid, more intense bus service between very close locations than it is to have a very wide bus service that doesn't show up very often.
Okay. Even if you got empty buses going.
You won't have. That's the thing.
Oh.
You're much more likely to have empty buses. Well, again, even if you have empty buses at 1 minute, so during a certain time slot. When the problem is, there's a fine line between when people have to plan a bus coming, versus when people don't. And it's the difference between, and this is another thing, you also need to include, in order to get the most out of your bus investment, give dedicated bus lanes and signal priority at lights. Cities that do not do this.
What's signal priority?
The light changes when the bus arrives.
Okay.
So they always get a green light.
Nice.
Or they have a dedicated light in some places.
Nice. Yes.
But if your city's not doing that, they are wasting more money on they're spending the same amount of money to get a worse service. And not just that, they're telling everyone, the bus isn't faster, you take the bus when you're poor. Because it's the same as driving, but we stop more. And it's slower, and it doesn't come as often. When you give them their own lanes, and you give them signal priority, they can beat the traffic. And you can actually have a bus that rich people want to use.
That's textbook Go.
Yes. Well, Go is improving. Things are improving in Canada a lot better in the U.S.
Yeah.
Go is getting better at that in a lot of ways. Yeah. But you're much more likely to use a service that comes by faster, because what happens if you miss a train? Then you're fucked. Or you miss a bus, then you're fucked.
Yeah.
Having fast service, repeatable service, is things people oh, I can live nearby it and not own a car and save some money. And that encourages denser development around these places.
Mm-hmm.
And that denser development is much more budget friendly for your city. And that's why he talks about it. It's not just about running it efficiently, it's about encouraging good development patterns around in your city and building better places that don't suck.
Yeah, if you make cars less of a necessity and people are just more accustomed to doing the alternate methods, and if they can do everything, accomplish everything that they need.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Cars are expensive. People will cut them if they don't need them.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's kind of a big theme in his book is like design your city.
Yeah.
To not, walking is free.
Sure is.
Bikes are really cheap. Those are your top two methods. Everything beyond that is supplemental and should yield to them.
Yeah.
If you're implementing a bus network or a train network, but or a road network, and you're screwing up with people who walk to their local supermarket, you're making a mistake. Simple as that. Because when you break that connection, they're not going to go to that supermarket anymore, and you killed that business. And it's going to be replaced by a parking lot or a big box store, connected with a connection to the highway, and it's going to take up 10 times more space and give the same amount of money.
There's probably a lot of store owners out there that don't even know the context behind like why their business drops.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Or they put they'll put up a parking. That's another thing. It's like, where we were talking before about, I mentioned earlier about like small businesses work better.
Yeah.
When you drive everywhere you go has to be a destination. Stopping is a big investment. But when you're walking,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You just stop, you walk in and out, you get things on the way.
Exactly.
And
it's more like serendipitous, and that's fun.
Yeah, but and when you drive, advertising becomes so much more important because you have to be someone's destination. So all of a sudden, all these small companies are competing against the giants.
Yeah.
And all the supermarkets that used to just serve local communities.
Yeah.
All of a sudden are competing with places 5-10 miles away.
Rather just stumbling upon places. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, not even just that. It also, you get sparser places and bigger places because it increases the circle of competition.
Yeah.
So like in cities and in places where people walk, you get lots of these smaller grocery stores that specialize. There's a bakery near my house. I fucking love it. And there's like 3 grocery stores. Yeah. I get to pick and choose depending on what I want to do. Most people who live in the suburbs can't. There's one good grocery store. Maybe if they want to go further, there's a Costco. And that's it. That's all they got. Because they've their size and cheapness has outcompeted everything to death.
Yeah.
And that's it. But when you have to deal with storefronts, everyone's kind of equalized. You can't buy more TV ads to make people want to walk to your store.
It's just inevitable that people are going to come across it because that's the path that they need to go.
Exactly. And so your storefront is your advertising. It's the best piece of advertising you can have when you're there. Pedestrian spaces are nice to be in. They're nice to live in.
Yeah.
We need to have more. That's the most important thing. Less ugly places that no one wants to spend time.
Even if you're driving along a road, how do you call it? Strode.
Yes.
And they do have nice storefronts. Like you've got your destination in mind.
They don't because it's behind an ocean of parking always. The storefronts on the Strode are never. They're in strip malls. Yeah, they're always in strip malls. And you ever walk around a strip mall being like, "Gosh, this is such a nice strip mall."
All the time. Just on Tuesday.
Exactly. See, even like that's even. Roads make strip malls because the only way to get to places is parking. Therefore, all the stores need parking, and therefore all the stores become offset from the road to accommodate parking.
Yeah. That's the root cause or the problem.
Yes.
It's the roads.
Because
everything else branches off that.
Roads and zoning. Roads and zoning. Well, road zoning and where the investment is going. Like I said, those are the 3 core things. Invest in local towns' cores and your local businesses, kids.
That's the moral of the story.
Basically.
Excellent.
Shiny new shit is actually kind of bullshit, and the old stuff that we built before cars is actually like way better for us. That's the moral of the story.
I gotta check
Don't
out
believe
some
tech
of these
bros.
infrastructure YouTube channels.
I will send you some not just bikes. It's a rabbit hole, I'm telling you.
You've got some curious YouTube videos that you sent me. I never even made through some of them, but
Xerbia, he's fucking great.
Like what was that horse in a bar? What's going on there?
It's a fucking wild ass like existentialist story that he wrote with like this weird like multi-layered story where like this dude is dreaming about a horse and a duck at a bar, but it's just a dream that goes back and forth between like these like strange hallucinations that this guy's having.
I tried to make it through. It didn't really.
Okay, I got a better one for you.
Okay.
That's but he's this sort of like everything he writes is like very nihilist, futurist, very tenderly emotional at the same time.
Mm-hmm. From the same creator?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I read one of his books and I liked it a lot. And I recognized the name on YouTube. I'm like, fucking what? Turns out it is the same guy. Like I remember this guy's book.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like, and he writes like short stories and like science explanations.
Like if you recognize someone's writing, you can just you spot it from a crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, this guy also has a particularly unique style.
Mm.
A very, like I said, tenderly philosophical nihilism.
Mm.
It's like
tenderly.
Yeah, everything he writes is very emotional.
Mm.
Like it's always really about sort of the core nihilistic tenets. It's a man versus universe. That's his whole thing. It's like the universe fucking is weird and dumb and nothing matters. And how do you respond to that? And you find fleeting comfort in the human interactions we make between each other. And that's basically all everything is work is about. Everything is set dressing.
I'm comfortable with that though. The fleeting interactions part happens all the time, and no problem with that.
Right. Yeah. So one of that sub stories in the thing that I sent you was this dream this guy kept having over and over again about like him and this woman that they lives in the same apartment with who keep not who keep like almost getting like who like each other but keep almost having the balls to connect with each other and then miss. Like.
I feel like that's the beginning chapter of Crime and Punishment, because he lives in like this like rundown apartment.
Get some water. Keep
talking with the landlord.
Mm-hmm. So you keep talking. I'm listening. I'm listening, and so are they. Actually, I don't think I read Crime or Punishment. Remind me what's in it.
I never made it through. Use the filtered water, man.
Yeah, you're right. This is the tap water in my place tastes fine. It doesn't here.
I have never, like, apart from the ice cubes.
This is Canada. Tap water's fine. This is not like, Flint, Michigan, where it's poisoned with lead.
Flint, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another town dying under its own...
Three-eyed fish.
Mm-hmm. Another town dying under its infrastructure liabilities.
Jeez. Hey, at least they have a sewage system.
Yeah, well, they don't have water.
To flush
it. Yeah, they have to flush their fucking lead-lined water. And I did it again. Damn, that coffee was like, went right through me multiple times over.
I'm gonna have to cut this then, like.
I think we're good. Like, we have a fucking full podcast here. We talked about infrastructure bullshit.
Do you want to just end it? We can keep it running.
We could keep it running.
It doesn't matter. Like we keep it running.
I think it's like giving me like a mild background anxiety. You have like a constant camera and it's like it'd be chiller.
Okay.
We can get some food, honestly.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'm just gonna stop.
Yeah, not bad. Do you want to do an outro though before? Hang on a second. We're gonna come
I just stopped the live, but.
Okay. So are there any good places to get food around here?
Yeah, there is. Just look out my bedroom window.
Yes, to the It's like a strip mall, but that's like multiplying into more strip malls. Are there any actually local places?
So there's the Poke Bowl, there's the pizza place, there's Osmos and Pita Pit.
What's Osmos?
Osmos is like chicken and rice, like
Chicken and rice.
like Mediterranean, or I don't know what it is.
Oh,
Middle
okay.
Eastern maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. I can go for some falafel right now. Okay,
Falafel?
I just did. You never had falafel?
I have had falafel.
Oh, okay, good. But it sounds like the kind of place that I would have falafel. Here, I can stop the recording, shall I? Would you like to do an outro?
No, it's okay.
I never said my name.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
I'll put you in the description.
Okay, cool. You have my Instagram, right? You can tell me?
Yeah.